Introduction. For thousands of years, humanity has built monuments that defy explanation. Temples carved from single rocks, cities aligned with the stars, and pyramids that still guard their secrets. Tonight, we'll uncover the hidden mysteries behind the world's most ancient structures and what they might be trying to tell us. The Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as one of humanity's oldest and most enduring mysteries. Rising above the sands of Egypt for over 4.5 millennia, it is not merely a monument of stone. It is a coded message carved in limestone, a testament to knowledge that seems to reach beyond its own time. Even today, modern science continues to uncover secrets hidden deep within its massive structure. Built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, around 2560 BCE, the Great Pyramid was originally over 146 meters tall and consisted of more than 2 million limestone blocks, each weighing several tons. For centuries, explorers, archaeologists, and engineers have tried to understand how such a colossal structure could have been erected with the limited tools of the ancient world. But while the methods remain debated, an even greater mystery lies within: the hidden chambers that continue to be discovered beneath and inside its stone layers. For most of recorded history, only 3 main chambers were known: the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the subterranean chamber cut deep into the bedrock. These were thought to represent different stages of spiritual ascent, from the earthly world to the divine realm. The King's Chamber, made entirely of red granite, holds a single stone sarcophagus. The Queen's Chamber, despite its name, contained no queen and has puzzled researchers for centuries. And far below, the unfinished subterranean chamber seems to lead nowhere, as if left intentionally incomplete. For generations, it was believed that these rooms were all the pyramid held. But in recent years, new technologies have revealed that the ancient structure is far from fully understood. Using a method known as muon radiography, a form of cosmic ray scanning that detects subtle differences in density, scientists have found previously unknown voids within the pyramid. In 2017, researchers from the Scan Pyramids project announced the discovery of a massive hidden space above the Grand Gallery, now known as the Big Void. It is roughly 30 meters long and located directly in the heart of the structure, in a place that had never been reached by human hands since the pyramid's construction. Its purpose remains completely unknown. Some scientists suggest that the void might be a relieving space, an architectural design meant to reduce the weight pressing down on the gallery below. Others believe it could be a symbolic or ritualistic chamber, intentionally concealed to protect something sacred. Yet no entrance has been found. No passages lead inside. It simply exists, silent and unreachable, a shadow within the stone. Even older discoveries hint that this may not be the only hidden space. In the 1980s, small shafts were detected leading from the Queen's Chamber toward the outer walls of the pyramid. For a long time, these were thought to be ventilation channels. But when robotic probes were sent inside, they found small doors sealed with copper fittings, as if someone had deliberately locked them thousands of years ago. Later explorations revealed that behind one of these doors was yet another small space, a cavity still unexplored. Each new investigation adds layers to the mystery rather than solving it. The more we uncover, the more the pyramid seems alive, a structure that continues to withhold its secrets. Some archaeologists believe that the builders of the pyramid might have intentionally left hidden chambers as part of a complex spiritual design. In ancient Egyptian belief, the afterlife was a journey of transformation. The pyramid itself may have served not only as a tomb but also as a symbolic map of the cosmos, guiding the soul of the pharaoh toward the stars. Every corridor, every angle, and every measurement within the Great Pyramid appears to follow precise mathematical proportions. Its sides align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, deviating by less than a fraction of a degree. The base forms a nearly perfect square, and the ratio of its height to its perimeter mirrors the mathematical constant pi with uncanny accuracy. Whether this precision was intentional or an astonishing coincidence remains debated, but it suggests an understanding of geometry that seems almost modern. Standing before the Great Pyramid today, one can sense that it was designed to endure, not only in its physical form but as a vessel of hidden meaning. Beneath its immense weight lies the story of a civilization that saw life and death as parts of a single cosmic pattern. And as modern instruments continue to scan its interior, they reveal not only empty spaces of air and stone, but the persistence of human curiosity itself. The same curiosity that first looked up at the desert sky thousands of years ago and imagined eternity. The Great Pyramid of Giza remains both a monument and a message. Every discovery within its walls brings us closer to understanding the minds that built it, and yet, every new revelation deepens the sense of mystery. Somewhere inside that ancient labyrinth of stone, untouched chambers still wait in silence, patient, timeless, and filled with secrets that may never be fully revealed. Machu Picchu. High in the mist-covered Andes, surrounded by emerald peaks and clouds that drift like ancient ghosts, lies Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Inca. It is one of the most breathtaking places on Earth, a masterpiece of stone and silence, where every wall, terrace, and path seems to have been placed with divine precision. For centuries, it remained hidden from the world, untouched by time, waiting for its rediscovery in 1911 by the American explorer Hiram Bingham. And even now, more than 100 years later, its true purpose remains one of archaeology's greatest enigmas. Unlike many ancient cities, Machu Picchu was never mentioned in colonial Spanish chronicles. There are no written records explaining why it was built, who lived there, or why it was abandoned. All that remains are stones, carved with such precision that even today a thin blade cannot pass between them, and a landscape that feels almost otherworldly. Built around the mid-15th century during the reign of the Inca Emperor Pachacuti, Machu Picchu is often called the lost city of the Inca. Yet, it was not truly a city in the conventional sense. It was something else, perhaps a royal estate, perhaps a sanctuary, or perhaps a cosmic observatory built to align heaven and earth. The site is divided into two main zones: the agricultural terraces that cascade down the mountainside, and the urban core filled with temples, residences, and ceremonial platforms. Each element of its design seems to follow a sacred geometry. The Temple of the Sun, for instance, is perfectly aligned with the rising sun during the June solstice, casting light through its windows in a pattern that illuminates a carved stone altar. This precision shows not only architectural brilliance but also a deep spiritual relationship with the cosmos. To the Incas, the world was not divided between the physical and the divine. It was a continuum, a cycle of life and spirit woven together. Mountains, or apis, were living beings. Rivers were sacred veins. The sky was a mirror of the earth below. Machu Picchu was built in harmony with this worldview. Every stone structure seems to converse with the surrounding peaks, as if the builders designed the city as a bridge between the human and the celestial. The Intihuatana stone, one of the most mysterious artifacts found on the site, reflects this spiritual connection. Carved from a single block of granite, it was likely used as an astronomical instrument. Its name means the hitching post of the sun, and during the equinox, its shadow nearly disappears, symbolizing the moment when the sun is tied to the earth. To the Incas, this was not only science but also ritual, a way to ensure cosmic balance and the continuation of life. Despite its grandeur, Machu Picchu was never a fortress, nor does it appear to have been a large urban settlement. Archaeologists found no signs of warfare, no walls of defense, and only about 200 buildings. It seems more like a retreat, a secluded world for priests, nobles, and scholars, hidden away in the clouds. Here, far from the noise of the empire, rituals could be performed in peace, away from the eyes of outsiders. Some researchers believe Machu Picchu may have been Pachacuti's royal estate, a sacred residence where the emperor could connect with the gods and the spirits of nature. Others think it was a center for spiritual training, where the most devoted followers studied the rhythms of the cosmos. And yet, there are no definitive answers. Its purpose is a tapestry of theories woven through centuries of wonder. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, Machu Picchu had already been abandoned. The jungle slowly reclaimed its stones, wrapping the city in vines and silence. For nearly 400 years, it lay hidden, forgotten by the world, but preserved by the mountain's embrace. This isolation paradoxically protected it while other Inca sites were destroyed. Machu Picchu survived, frozen in time. Today, as visitors walk through its terraces and narrow stone pathways, they can still feel that lingering presence, an energy that seems to hum through the air. The architecture is not only functional but meditative, designed to evoke a sense of unity with the earth. Standing at the edge of the site, one sees not just ruins but an idea, the vision of a civilization that saw architecture as an extension of the natural world. From the Temple of the Condor to the Sacred Plaza, every element of Machu Picchu whispers the same message. The Inca did not build against nature, but within it. The city was sculpted into the mountain itself, each wall echoing the shape of the surrounding ridges, each terrace following the rhythm of the slope. It is as if the entire structure breathes with the landscape. In the quiet moments of dawn, when the mist begins to lift and the first light touches the stones, one can almost feel the pulse of the past. The rhythm of prayers, the sound of footsteps on ancient stairways, the echo of a civilization that understood the delicate balance between spirit and matter. Machu Picchu remains one of the most haunting and beautiful mysteries of human creation. It stands not as a symbol of conquest or power, but of harmony and contemplation. A city that was perhaps never meant to be found. Its secret purpose may forever remain hidden, but its silence continues to speak, softly, patiently, like the whisper of the mountains themselves. Stonehenge. On the windswept plains of Salisbury in southern England stands Stonehenge, a circle of towering stones, some upright, others fallen, each weighing several tons. They rise from the earth like ancient sentinels, silent and unyielding, their purpose lost in the mists of time. For thousands of years, this enigmatic monument has drawn countless minds into its orbit, from early antiquarians to modern scientists, all seeking to decode the meaning behind its stones. Built around 2500 BCE, Stonehenge was not the work of a single generation. It evolved over centuries, passing from one group of builders to another, each adding their own layers to its design. What remains today is only the final version, a precise arrangement of giant sarsen stones and smaller bluestones brought from more than 200 kilometers away in Wales. The effort required to move and erect them seems almost unimaginable for a prehistoric society. Yet there they stand, balanced, aligned, and enduring. For many years, Stonehenge was thought to be nothing more than a primitive temple or burial site. But modern research has revealed that it is far more complex. Its architecture follows a precise astronomical pattern. The stones are aligned with the movements of the sun and the moon in ways that could not have been accidental. During the summer solstice, the rising sun appears directly above the heel stone, casting its first light through the center of the monument and illuminating the inner circle. 6 months later, during the winter solstice, the setting sun aligns perfectly in the opposite direction. These alignments suggest that Stonehenge functioned as a vast solar and lunar calendar, a way for its builders to track the rhythm of the heavens and mark the passage of time. For a society that relied on agriculture, knowing the exact timing of the seasons was a matter of survival. But the precision of these alignments also suggests something deeper, a spiritual or ceremonial meaning that connected the cycles of the cosmos to the lives of those who built it. Every detail of Stonehenge seems deliberate. The stones are arranged not in a perfect circle, but in a subtly flattened arc, as if to mirror the path of the sun across the sky. The builders shaped the tops of the upright stones with mortise and tenon joints, an early example of sophisticated engineering rarely seen in prehistoric monuments. Beneath the surface, dozens of buried pits and cremation remains have been found, suggesting that the site served as both an observatory and a sacred ground, uniting life, death, and time itself into one monumental design. But Stonehenge hides another, lesser-known dimension, one of sound. In recent years, researchers have explored the monument's acoustic properties and discovered something remarkable. When sound waves are produced within the stone circle, they echo and resonate in complex patterns. The stones amplify certain frequencies while muting others, creating a powerful and immersive auditory effect. Some frequencies can even make the space feel as though it vibrates, a sensation that might have been perceived as deeply spiritual by those who gathered there. This discovery has led to a new interpretation of Stonehenge as an ancient acoustic chamber, a place where sound itself was part of the ritual. Drums, chants, and voices could have reverberated through the stones, creating a trance-like atmosphere. In a world without written language, sound was sacred, a bridge between the physical and the unseen. The architecture of Stonehenge may have been designed not only to align with the heavens but to harmonize with the human body and spirit. The connection between sound and astronomy is not coincidental. For ancient cultures, the universe was music, the harmony of the spheres. A cosmic rhythm where celestial bodies moved in patterns that mirrored tones and vibrations. Stonehenge could have been a place where these two worlds met, where the rhythm of the earth resonated with the song of the sky. As the centuries passed, the purpose of Stonehenge faded into legend. Its builders left no written records, only stone and silence. Later generations of Britons regarded it with awe and superstition, weaving tales of giants and wizards, of King Arthur and Merlin, of forgotten gods who once walked the plains. Yet, through all this time, the monument endured, weathered by wind and rain, but never forgotten. Today, when the solstice sun rises over Salisbury Plain, thousands still gather at Stonehenge to witness what their ancestors once saw. The golden light spills over the ancient stones, and for a brief moment, the past feels alive again. The alignment remains perfect, a cosmic clock still marking the heartbeat of the earth. Stonehenge is more than a ruin. It is a code, one written in stone, light, and sound. Its builders may be long gone, but their message persists in the geometry of the circle and the whisper of the wind that moves between the stones. It reminds us that the ancient world was not primitive, but profoundly aware, that to them the heavens and the earth, the stars and the human voice, were all part of a single resonant design. And so, Stonehenge stands not only as a monument to engineering but as a meditation on existence itself. A place where time, sound, and light converge in eternal balance. A reminder that even in silence, the universe still sings. The Parthenon. In the heart of Athens, bathed in sunlight and history, stands the Parthenon, a temple that has come to embody the very idea of classical perfection. Perched high upon the Acropolis, it watches over the city as it has for nearly 25 centuries, its white marble glowing with the soft gold of the Mediterranean sun. Yet beyond its physical beauty lies a deeper truth. The Parthenon was built not only to honor a goddess, but to reflect an invisible harmony, a hidden mathematical order woven into every line and proportion of its design. Constructed between 447 and 432 BCE under the leadership of Pericles, the Parthenon was dedicated to Athena, the patron goddess of wisdom and war. It was the centerpiece of a grand architectural vision that sought to express the power, balance, and refinement of Athens at its height. The architects, Ictinos and Callicrates, and the sculptor Phidias, did not simply build a temple. They created a structure that mirrored the laws of geometry and optical perfection itself. At first glance, the Parthenon appears perfectly symmetrical, an ideal form of balance and proportion. But in truth, almost nothing in it is perfectly straight or uniform. Every line, every column, every surface was deliberately curved or adjusted to correct for the imperfections of human perception. The stylobate, the platform on which the columns stand, is not flat, but gently convex, rising slightly at the center to counteract the illusion of sagging. The columns themselves are not parallel but lean subtly inward, and each one bulges slightly in the middle, a feature known as entasis, to create the appearance of strength and grace. These delicate adjustments are almost imperceptible, yet together they create an uncanny sense of visual harmony. The Parthenon seems alive, breathing and balanced, as if responding to the gaze of those who look upon it. It is a structure designed not only for the eyes, but for the mind, an embodiment of reason, proportion, and beauty. Mathematically, the Parthenon has long been associated with the golden ratio, the mysterious number 1.618, known since antiquity as a symbol of aesthetic perfection. This ratio, expressed in nature through spirals, shells, and galaxies, appears repeatedly in the proportions of the temple's facade and columns. Though scholars still debate whether the architects consciously applied this principle, the harmony it represents is undeniably present. Every element of the Parthenon seems guided by a mathematical rhythm, a geometry that bridges art and science, human craftsmanship and universal order. This hidden precision extended even to its orientation and lighting. The temple was aligned so that the rising sun would illuminate the statue of Athena inside, a massive figure made of gold and ivory that once stood as the spiritual heart of the structure. The interplay of light and shadow across the marble would have created a living spectacle, a dance of geometry and sunlight that changed with each hour and season. The Parthenon was also built entirely without mortar. Its marble blocks were fitted together so precisely that they have endured earthquakes, wars, and centuries of decay. Each stone was shaped to connect with the next through subtle interlocking joints, forming a structure that relies not on force but on precision. This harmony of construction mirrors the harmony of proportion, a unity of form and philosophy that was central to Greek thought. To the ancient Greeks, mathematics was not an abstract science but a language of the cosmos, the logic through which the universe expressed its order. Geometry, in particular, was seen as divine, a bridge between the human and the eternal. The Parthenon embodied this belief. It was both a house for a goddess and a physical manifestation of the Greek pursuit of truth through balance and proportion. Its perfection was not in symmetry alone, but in the subtle distortions that make it feel alive, an architecture that understands perception as deeply as it understands physics. Over the centuries, the Parthenon has suffered greatly. It has been converted into a church, a mosque, and even a gunpowder storage during wartime, leading to devastating explosions and the loss of much of its sculptural decoration. Yet, despite all this, its essence remains untouched. The columns still rise with the same quiet dignity, and the air around it still carries the weight of human genius. Modern architects and mathematicians continue to study its proportions, still finding patterns that reveal deeper layers of intention, triangles, ratios, and geometric alignments that seem to encode an entire philosophy of beauty. The Parthenon is not simply a ruin of marble. It is a frozen equation, a mathematical hymn written in stone. When one stands before it, surrounded by the hum of Athens below and the light shimmering off its white surfaces, it becomes clear that this temple was never merely about worship. It was a statement that through knowledge, discipline, and imagination, humanity could touch the divine. The Parthenon endures as proof that perfection does not lie in straight lines or mechanical precision, but in understanding how to shape imperfection into harmony. Its beauty is not accidental. It is the deliberate work of minds who saw mathematics as art and architecture as philosophy. Even after 25 centuries, it continues to remind us that true beauty is not only seen. It is calculated, measured, and felt. The Parthenon's hidden mathematical perfection still speaks softly through its stones, whispering the eternal language of proportion, balance, and the infinite grace of human thought. Teotihuacan. Far to the northeast of modern-day Mexico City lies Teotihuacan, the city of the gods. Once one of the largest urban centers of the ancient world, it was home to tens of thousands of people and dominated the high valley of Mexico more than 1,500 years ago. The ruins that remain today, immense pyramids, grand avenues, and mysterious temples, still radiate a sense of power and mystery. Among them, the Pyramid of the Moon stands silent and imposing, facing the Avenue of the Dead, guarding secrets that lay hidden beneath its stone foundations for centuries. Teotihuacan was built long before the rise of the Aztecs, around the 1st century BCE, by a civilization whose name and language remain unknown. The Aztecs discovered the city centuries later, abandoned and already ancient, and believed it was the place where gods once created the sun and the moon. Its precise layout, symmetrical design, and monumental architecture suggest a culture deeply concerned with cosmic order, a society that sought to mirror the heavens upon the earth. The Pyramid of the Moon, smaller but older than the nearby Pyramid of the Sun, is one of the city's most sacred sites. It was the focal point of both ritual and ceremony, perfectly aligned with the distant Cerro Gordo mountain, which seems to rise as a natural extension of the pyramid itself. Archaeologists believe this alignment was intentional, a symbolic union between human construction and the divine landscape. But as later discoveries would show, Its true mystery lies not in its height, but in what rests below. For centuries, the Pyramid of the Moon appeared solid and unyielding. Yet beneath its surface, something extraordinary was waiting. In 2017, after years of research using ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity scans, scientists discovered a vast tunnel running deep under the pyramid. An artificial passage carved into the rock, filled with chambers and offerings. This hidden tunnel mirrors another found years earlier beneath the Pyramid of the Sun, suggesting a pattern. An underground network designed as a reflection of the cosmos above. When researchers began to explore, they found traces of elaborate ritual deposits. Obsidian blades, jade figurines, and animal remains carefully arranged in symbolic order. The tunnel appeared to have been sealed deliberately, as if to protect whatever lay within. It was not simply a burial chamber or a place of storage, but something more profound, a symbolic journey into the underworld. In Mesoamerican belief, the cosmos was divided into three realms: the heavens above, the earth in the middle, and the underworld below. The pyramids of Teotihuacan may have been gateways between these worlds, constructed as artificial mountains linking humans with gods. The tunnels beneath them, dark and labyrinthine, represented the unseen realm of creation and rebirth, a spiritual mirror of the skies. Excavations have revealed that the builders of Teotihuacan used extraordinary precision in constructing these subterranean passages. The walls were lined with powdered pyrite and magnetite, minerals that shimmer faintly when light touches them. Imagine ancient priests descending into the tunnel with torches, their flames reflecting off metallic dust, creating the illusion of stars scattered across the darkness. It was a deliberate simulation, a human-made underworld that imitated the cosmic night. Some archaeologists believe the tunnel under the Pyramid of the Moon served as a ritual passage used during initiation ceremonies or royal burials. Others suggest it represented the mythical origin place of humanity, a sacred womb of the earth where gods once created life. This interpretation aligns with many Mesoamerican myths that describe the birth of the sun and moon emerging from a cave beneath the earth. As scientists continue to explore, they have found no evidence of writing or explicit explanations of the site's purpose. Teotihuacan left no inscriptions, no clear record of who its rulers were or what they believed. Yet, through architecture alone, they expressed ideas of astonishing depth, a worldview in which geometry, astronomy, and spirituality were inseparable. The city's grid aligns almost perfectly with the movement of celestial bodies, and the avenue of the dead points toward the setting of the Pleiades, marking the beginning of the Mesoamerican ritual calendar. The discovery of the hidden tunnel beneath the Pyramid of the Moon reinforces the notion that Teotihuacan was built as a living map of the cosmos. Its builders understood architecture not merely as construction but as cosmology in stone, a language that expressed balance between life and death, light and shadow, the heavens and the underworld. Today, the Pyramid of the Moon remains one of the most mysterious structures in the ancient world. Visitors who climb its steep terraces and look out over the vast expanse of the Avenue of the Dead can feel the same quiet awe that ancient worshippers must have felt. Beneath their feet, the hidden tunnel still lies in darkness, sealed and silent, untouched for centuries. No one knows exactly what lies at its deepest point. Perhaps sacred relics, perhaps the remains of those who once ruled the city, or perhaps nothing but empty space meant to symbolize eternity itself. Whatever the truth, the tunnel beneath the Pyramid of the Moon is more than an archaeological curiosity. It is a message left by a vanished civilization, a whisper from a people who saw the universe not as something to observe, but as something to become part of. Teotihuacan endures as a riddle carved into the earth, a city built with cosmic intent. And beneath its stones, in the cold, quiet tunnels of the Pyramid of the Moon, the ancient architects still seem to speak in silence, reminding us that even in the depths of darkness, the human search for meaning never truly ends. Angkor Wat. Deep within the jungles of Cambodia, where mist clings to the ancient stones and the cries of cicadas echo across still waters, rises one of the most breathtaking creations of human civilization, Angkor Wat. To the untrained eye, it is a magnificent temple complex, a grand architectural achievement of the Khmer Empire. But beneath its sandstone beauty lies something far more mysterious, a precise celestial map carved into the earth, a blueprint of the heavens made solid in stone. Angkor Wat is not merely a temple, it is time made visible. Constructed in the early 12th century under King Sacsayhuamán II, it was dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, the preserver of the universe. Every corridor, every tower, and every courtyard seems guided by a principle that transcends aesthetics, an invisible geometry that mirrors the cosmos itself. The temple's alignment is its first secret. Unlike most Khmer temples that face east, Angkor Wat faces west, the direction of the setting sun and, symbolically, the direction of death. Yet this was not a choice of morbidity. For the builders of Angkor, death was not an end, but a passage, a movement through cosmic cycles, a journey toward rebirth. When the sun sets behind the central tower, it does so with a perfection that cannot be accidental. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the sun rises and sets in direct alignment with the temple's central axis. For a brief moment, the heavens and the earth seem to meet in balance, as if the temple itself breathes with the rhythm of the universe. Archaeologists and astronomers have studied these alignments for decades, and what they have found suggests that Angkor Wat was designed as a three-dimensional mandala, a sacred diagram representing the universe in miniature. The temple's concentric galleries symbolize the cosmic ocean and the mountain of creation, Mount Meru, the mythical center of all existence in Hindu cosmology. Each level ascends closer to the divine, culminating in the 5 towers that crown the complex, representing the 5 peaks of Meru, the home of the gods. But even more remarkable is the temple's relationship to time. The Khmer architects embedded astronomical and calendrical knowledge into its very structure. The distances between key elements of Angkor Wat correspond to significant numbers in Hindu cosmology, 108, 360, and 1728. Sacred figures representing the cycles of the sun, the moon, and the cosmic ages known as yugas. The outer wall's perimeter, for example, encodes the length of a solar year, while the central sanctuary reflects the length of the cosmic ages described in ancient texts. It is as if the temple was designed not just as a place of worship, but as a clock of eternity, marking the passage of time across scales both human and divine. Each sunrise over Angkor Wat, each shadow cast by its towers, was part of a grand celestial choreography known only to its creators. Recent satellite studies have revealed even more astonishing details. The Greater Angkor complex spans over 1,000 square kilometers, making it one of the largest pre-industrial cities ever built. Yet its layout is not random. Many of its temples and reservoirs align precisely with celestial and geographical markers. Some researchers have suggested that the entire landscape was designed to function as a symbolic mirror of the heavens, with Angkor Wat at its heart, representing the cosmic axis, the bridge between worlds. Within the temple, the carvings tell a similar story. Along the galleries, thousands of bas-reliefs depict scenes from Hindu mythology, the churning of the cosmic ocean, the battles of gods and demons, the creation of the world. But these stories also serve as maps, metaphors encoded in stone, guiding the initiate through layers of meaning, from the earthly to the transcendent. To walk through Angkor Wat is to walk through the cycles of time itself, from creation to dissolution and back again. As centuries passed, the empire fell, and the jungle slowly reclaimed the city. Roots coiled over walls, moss softened the once sharp carvings, and silence replaced the chants of priests. Yet even in ruin, Angkor Wat retained its quiet perfection. The stars it was built to mirror still rise and fall above it, unchanged, as if waiting for the temple to awaken again. Modern scholars, astronomers, and historians continue to debate the full meaning of Angkor Wat's celestial precision. Was it an observatory, a temple of resurrection, a map of divine order drawn on the living earth? Perhaps it was all of these at once. A place where science, religion, and art merged into a single expression of cosmic harmony. Standing before its towers at dawn, you can see the reflection of the temple in the still water of the moat. A perfect mirror image, the heavens above and their reflection below. The ancient builders seem to have understood this symbolism deeply. What is above is also below. What is within is also without. Angkor Wat becomes not just a temple of stone, but a meditation on existence itself, on the delicate symmetry between the human and the divine. In this sense, Angkor Wat is less a monument and more a message, one written not in words, but in light, shadow, and geometry. It reminds us that to the ancients, the universe was not a distant mystery to be measured, but a living pattern to be embodied. And as the morning sun rises, illuminating its towers in gold, Angkor Wat whispers across the centuries that we, too, are part of this vast celestial design, momentary sparks within a timeless blueprint written among the stars. The Sacsayhuamán Walls. High above the ancient city of Cusco, on the windswept hills of the Andes, lies a fortress that defies reason. Sacsayhuamán. Its massive stone walls curve and weave across the landscape like the remnants of a dream. Each block, some weighing more than 300 tons, fits perfectly with its neighbors, so precisely that even a single sheet of paper cannot slip between them. To this day, no one fully understands how such an astonishing structure was created. The stones of Sacsayhuamán are unlike anything else in ancient architecture. They are irregular, almost organic in shape, yet they lock together with seamless precision. There is no mortar, no filler, no binding material of any kind. The stones simply hold themselves in place, not through weight alone, but through design so advanced it seems beyond its time. The walls have stood for more than 5 centuries, surviving earthquakes that reduced nearby colonial buildings to rubble. Their secret lies in their geometry, each stone cut to interlock with its neighbors like pieces of a colossal three-dimensional puzzle. Archaeologists believe Sacsayhuamán was built by the Inca civilization, whose empire flourished across the Andes before the arrival of Europeans. But even by Inca standards, Sacsayhuamán is extraordinary. The Incas were known for their engineering skill, for roads that spanned mountains and terraces that turned barren slopes into farmland. Yet Sacsayhuamán stands apart. It is as if the builders possessed an understanding of stone that has since been lost. According to historical records, tens of thousands of workers were said to have transported and shaped the stones using only bronze tools, ropes, and manpower. But when modern engineers examine the site, the logistics seem nearly impossible. How were such enormous blocks quarried, shaped, and moved across rugged terrain, sometimes from quarries located miles away? How were they lifted and positioned with such accuracy, without iron tools or wheels? Some researchers suggest that the Incas used wooden rollers and ramps, relying on coordination and sheer determination. Others propose that heat or sound could have been used to soften the stone, an idea that remains in the realm of speculation. The truth is, no definitive method has ever been confirmed. The stones themselves bear strange marks, smooth, polished surfaces alongside deep grooves, as though the rock had been molded rather than carved. In places, the blocks curve in 3 dimensions, wrapping around each other as if they were once malleable. The angles and intersections seem too complex to have been measured by sight alone. The precision is so fine that even modern tools would struggle to replicate it on this scale. Beyond its construction, the layout of Sacsayhuamán carries symbolic meaning. The fortress forms part of the ancient city of Cusco's sacred geometry. When viewed from above, the entire complex resembles the head of a puma, a sacred animal in Inca cosmology, with Sacsayhuamán forming its jaws. The walls, with their zigzag design, represent the teeth of the puma, powerful and unyielding. This connection between architecture and mythology was central to Inca thought. For them, every stone was alive, part of the spiritual fabric of the world. Within the fortress, vast open plazas once hosted ceremonies and gatherings. During the Inca Empire's height, Sacsayhuamán was likely both a military stronghold and a ceremonial center. It was a place where the empire's rulers would connect with the gods, where earth and sky met through ritual and architecture. The precision of its construction was not only a feat of engineering, it was an act of devotion. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, they were awed by the sight. Chroniclers described it as a fortress built by giants. Many of the smaller stones were later taken and reused to build the city of Cusco below, but the largest blocks were simply too immense to move. These stones remain silent and immovable, as if guarding the secrets of their creation. Today, Sacsayhuamán still stands as one of the greatest enigmas of ancient architecture. Its stones seem almost alive, weathered yet unbroken, their edges sharp after centuries of wind and rain. To walk among them is to feel something timeless, as if the builders left behind not only a monument but a message, a reminder of what human beings can achieve when guided by vision rather than limitation. Some researchers have attempted digital reconstructions, using lasers and 3D scanning to analyze the exact geometry of the stones. What they have found is astonishing. The stones fit together with sub-millimeter precision, their joints designed to absorb seismic vibrations. The builders not only achieved perfect alignment, they created one of the most earthquake-resistant structures on Earth, centuries before the invention of modern engineering. The Inca called their work living stone. They believed that rock had its own spirit, that the earth itself was sacred. In shaping Sacsayhuamán, they were not conquering nature but harmonizing with it, shaping its body into a reflection of divine order. The fortress becomes a kind of dialogue between humanity and the earth, written not in words but in weight, balance, and endurance. At sunset, when the light turns golden and shadows fill the crevices between the stones, the walls seem to breathe. The smooth faces of the rocks catch the fading sun, and for a moment, the entire structure glows, as if whispering the secrets of its creation in a language long forgotten. No matter how much time passes, Sacsayhuamán remains a mystery, a timeless puzzle that challenges our understanding of ancient skill and imagination. It stands as a testament to a civilization that saw no boundary between the physical and the spiritual, between earth and sky, between human hands and divine will. And perhaps that is its truest secret, not how it was built, but why. For in every joint and curve of stone, the builders of Sacsayhuamán seem to have inscribed a message of unity, a silent declaration that even the heaviest stone can rise when it moves in harmony with the world itself. The Gobekli Tepe. On a remote hilltop in southeastern Turkey, surrounded by barren plains and dry winds, lies a place that has rewritten everything we thought we knew about human civilization, Gobekli Tepe. Buried for thousands of years beneath layers of sand and soil, this ancient site is now believed to be the oldest known temple complex on Earth, built more than 11,000 years ago, centuries before the invention of writing, the wheel, or even agriculture. When it was first unearthed in the 1990s by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt, Gobekli Tepe shattered the timeline of human history. Before its discovery, scholars believed that religion and monumental architecture emerged only after humans began farming and forming complex societies. But Gobekli Tepe turned that idea upside down. It suggested that it was not agriculture that gave rise to organized religion, but perhaps religion that gave rise to civilization itself. The site consists of massive circular enclosures, each formed by towering limestone pillars arranged in rings. At the center of each circle stand two monumental T-shaped pillars, some reaching over 5 meters in height and weighing up to 50 tons. Carved into their surfaces are intricate reliefs of animals: foxes, snakes, vultures, scorpions, boars, as well as abstract symbols whose meanings are still unknown. These carvings seem to tell stories, perhaps of creation, death, or the cycles of the natural world. What makes Gobekli Tepe even more astonishing is its age. Radiocarbon dating places its construction around 9,500 BCE, long before the first cities of Mesopotamia, before pottery, before metal tools. The people who built it were hunter-gatherers, living in small bands that moved with the seasons. Yet somehow, they managed to quarry, shape, and transport these immense stones, coordinating hundreds of workers across years, perhaps decades. How did they achieve such organization without the social structures of later civilizations? How did they lift stones heavier than those of Stonehenge using only primitive tools? These questions remain unanswered. What is clear, however, is that Gobekli Tepe was no ordinary settlement. It was not a village or fortress. There are no signs of homes, hearths, or everyday life. This was a place set apart, perhaps a sanctuary, where people gathered for rituals that connected them to something greater than themselves. Each pillar at Gobekli Tepe seems to represent a being, possibly deities, ancestors, or spirits. The T-shape may symbolize a human figure, with arms and hands carved on some of the stones, folded across the front as if in solemn stillness. The carvings of animals could reflect a belief system rooted in the natural world, where every creature carried symbolic power. The site may have served as a meeting place for distant tribes, a shared spiritual center uniting early humans across vast regions. What is even more mysterious is that, after centuries of use, Gobekli Tepe was deliberately buried. The entire complex was carefully filled in with debris, stone fragments, animal bones, and tools, as if its builders wanted to hide it from the world. No one knows why. Perhaps it marked the end of an era, or perhaps the rituals had served their purpose, and the place had to be returned to the earth. Whatever the reason, this act of deliberate burial preserved the site almost perfectly, sealing it beneath time. The carvings themselves are filled with symbolic depth. Some depict vultures holding human heads, imagery thought to represent death and spiritual transformation. Others show animals arranged in patterns that may reflect constellations, suggesting that the builders observed the stars and linked their rituals to celestial movements. Recent studies even propose that Gobekli Tepe's layout corresponds to specific star formations visible in the night sky around 9000 BCE, a sign of an early form of astronomical awareness. To stand among its pillars today is to step into a world where myth and reality were still one and the same. The silence of the hill carries a sense of reverence, as though the stones still hum with the voices of those who built them. There is a raw, timeless energy here, one that predates all written belief systems, all temples and scriptures. It is the echo of humanity's first attempt to understand the unseen. What Gobekli Tepe reveals is a profound truth about the human mind. Long before nations or cities, before kings or gods carved in stone, humans looked to the sky and the earth in wonder. They gathered, they built, and they believed. These stones are not just remnants of a lost time. They are evidence of something deeply human, the desire to reach beyond survival, to connect with the mystery of existence itself. Archaeologists continue to excavate new sections of the site, but it is believed that what we see now is only a small part of a much larger complex still buried beneath the ground. Each new discovery adds to the mystery, not the clarity. The more we uncover, the more questions arise about who these people were, what they believed, and why they built something so monumental only to hide it away. Gobekli Tepe may never reveal all its secrets. Its builders left no written words, no direct clues, only these enduring stones. Yet, in their silence, they speak of the dawn of spirituality, of the moment when humanity first looked inward and upward, and felt the need to express that awe through creation. In the end, Gobekli Tepe stands as a monument not just to the ingenuity of ancient people, but to the mystery of human consciousness itself. It is where history meets myth, the place where the first whispers of faith and imagination took shape in stone. And though the builders are long gone, their message remains. That long before we built cities, we built meaning, and that meaning still stands, carved into the bones of the earth. The Temple of Kailasa. In the heart of India, carved into the volcanic cliffs of Ellora, stands a temple that defies logic, time, and the limits of human skill, the Kailasa Temple. Hewn entirely from a single piece of solid rock, it rises with breathtaking detail and scale, as though a mountain itself had been sculpted into divine form. Dedicated to Lord Shiva, the destroyer and transformer of the Hindu Trinity, the temple is more than just an architectural wonder. It is a monument to devotion, patience, and a mystery that continues to baffle engineers and historians to this day. Unlike most temples built from the ground up, the Kailasa Temple was carved top-down. Its creators began at the mountain's summit and worked downward, removing over 200,000 tons of stone in the process, all without modern tools or machinery. To this day, no one fully understands how such precision could have been achieved with only chisels, hammers, and faith. The temple's dimensions are vast, 60 meters long, 33 meters wide, and 30 meters high. Within this single carved mass are detailed columns, sculptures, towers, stairways, and shrines, all interconnected, all part of one continuous rock. The sheer logistics of this task seem almost impossible. Even with today's technology, replicating such a structure would require decades of careful planning and coordination. Yet, according to inscriptions, The Kailasa temple was completed in less than 20 years during the 8th century under the rule of King Krishna I of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Legends about its creation are as grand as the temple itself. One story tells of the queen who prayed to Lord Shiva for her husband's health, vowing to build a temple should her wish be granted. She asked that it be finished before the king recovered so she could see the golden spire shining under the sun. To fulfill this promise, the architect is said to have begun carving from the top down, completing the spire first, and thus creating a method that defied all conventional construction logic. But beyond the myth lies a truth that speaks to extraordinary human ingenuity. The builders of Kailasa understood the stone intimately, its grain, its strength, its fractures. They carved not with haste, but with a deep awareness of harmony between material and meaning. The result is not just a building, but a living sculpture, a mountain transformed into a cosmic temple. Every surface of Kailasa is covered with carvings that tell stories from Hindu mythology. Gods and demons locked in eternal struggle, dancers frozen in graceful motion, animals that seem ready to leap from the walls. Towering columns rise like petrified trees, their surfaces alive with detail. The temple's central shrine, dedicated to Shiva, symbolizes Mount Kailash, the mythical home of the god, where heaven and earth meet. At the temple's entrance, two massive pillars flank the gateway, and a stone bridge connects the courtyard to the main sanctum. Around it, smaller shrines form a celestial constellation, representing the divine retinue of Shiva. The layout follows a sacred geometry, aligning the temple with cosmic principles that mirror both the physical and spiritual order of the universe. Archaeologists and engineers who have studied Kailasa often express disbelief at its precision. The symmetry of its design, the accuracy of its proportions, and the sheer scale of the excavation seem beyond what was possible in the 8th century. There are no records of scaffolding, cranes, or blueprints, only the silent perfection of the final result. Some researchers have suggested that the temple's creators must have used an advanced system of measurements, based on sacred mathematical ratios that guided every cut and curve. The mystery deepens when one considers the surrounding complex. Kailasa is only one of 34 temples and monasteries carved into the Ellora cliffs, each representing different faiths: Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, existing side by side in remarkable harmony. It was a time when religion was not a source of division, but a shared exploration of the sacred. The Kailasa temple, at the heart of this harmony, stands as a symbol of unity between human creativity and divine inspiration. As the centuries passed, the temple survived wars, weather, and time itself. Conquerors came and went, yet Kailasa endured. Its surfaces worn by wind, its carvings softened by rain, but its spirit untouched. Even now, when sunlight filters through the stone corridors, casting long shadows on the figures of gods and guardians, there is a sense of timelessness. It feels less like a ruin and more like a living presence, a sacred space still resonating with the devotion that shaped it. Modern scientists have tried to estimate the manpower required for such a feat by conservative measures. It would have taken thousands of workers decades to remove so much stone. Yet local legends claim it was done in only a few years, an achievement that defies explanation. Whether guided by divine inspiration or a lost mastery of stonework, the builders of Kailasa left behind something that transcends both myth and science. To stand before the temple is to feel a sense of awe that words cannot quite capture. The scale overwhelms, but it is the silence that lingers, a silence that speaks of a civilization that saw creation not as conquest, but as communion with the divine. Every strike of the chisel was an act of faith, every carving a prayer in motion. Even now, the Temple of Kailasa continues to inspire and mystify. It is not simply an artifact of the past. It is a reminder of what human beings are capable of when guided by purpose rather than power. In a world obsessed with progress and speed, Kailasa stands as a monument to patience, to the idea that true creation takes time, devotion, and an unshakable belief in something greater. As dusk falls over Ellora and shadows climb the temple's carved walls, the structure seems to merge once again with the mountain that bore it. The boundary between human and nature fades, and one is left with the unmistakable impression that this was never just a temple carved into rock, but the rock itself revealing its divine form. The Baalbek Stones. In the fertile Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, surrounded by mountains and ancient ruins, stands one of the most perplexing mysteries of human construction: the great stone blocks of Baalbek. Here, at the site of the ancient city, once known as Heliopolis, the city of the sun, lie some of the largest stones ever quarried and moved by human hands. Their sheer size and precision defy logic, leaving archaeologists and engineers alike wondering how such feats were possible thousands of years ago. The heart of Baalbek is dominated by the ruins of the Roman Temple of Jupiter, built around 2,000 years ago. Even in its broken state, the temple complex is among the largest and most impressive of the ancient world. But beneath its towering columns lies something far older: a foundation made of colossal megalithic stones, so immense that they have become the stuff of legend. 3 of these blocks, known as the Trilithon, each measure about 20 meters in length and weigh nearly 800 tons. They rest perfectly aligned, fitted with such precision that not even a blade of grass can slip between them. Beneath the Trilithon, even larger stones appear embedded in the earth, suggesting that the original builders worked on a scale that challenges every known method of ancient construction. Just a short distance from the temple complex lies the quarry where these stones were cut. There, partially buried in the ground, rests a single massive block known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. It weighs an estimated 1,000 tons, and nearby, another even larger block was discovered in 2014, weighing over 1,200 tons, making it the largest known stone ever carved by human hands. Yet none of these gigantic blocks were ever moved from the quarry. They remain as silent witnesses to an ambition that seems to exceed human capability. How the ancient builders transported and lifted such massive stones remains an unsolved mystery. The Romans were masters of engineering, capable of constructing aqueducts, amphitheaters, and entire cities. But even by Roman standards, the stones of Baalbek are extraordinary. Historical accounts suggest that the Romans may have built upon an existing foundation, perhaps one laid by an even earlier civilization. The purpose of these enormous base stones, and how they were placed with such precision, has fueled centuries of debate. Some theories propose that elaborate systems of ramps, pulleys, and rollers were used, relying on immense manpower and ingenuity. Others suggest that the stones were moved with techniques now lost to time, involving lubrication, vibration, or mechanical advantage far beyond what was thought possible in the ancient world. No traces of such machinery have ever been found, leaving the question suspended between science and speculation. What is known is that Baalbek has been a sacred site for millennia. Long before the Romans arrived, the Phoenicians dedicated the area to Baal, their god of storms and fertility. Later, the Greeks renamed it Heliopolis, the city of the sun, associating it with their own solar deities. The Romans then built their grand temples atop these ancient foundations, merging religion and empire in a display of divine power. The temple complex once rivaled any in the ancient world, with the Temple of Jupiter surrounded by those of Bacchus and Venus, all aligned to celestial events marking the cycles of the sun. The choice of Baalbek's location was no accident. The site sits at a point where the earth and sky seem to meet, a plateau bathed in sunlight, framed by mountains, and fed by underground springs. To ancient builders, this was a place where heaven and earth could be joined through stone. The enormous blocks may have symbolized permanence and divine strength, anchoring human creation to the bones of the planet itself. Even today, when standing before the massive stones of the Trilithon, one feels a sense of scale that dwarfs the imagination. The surfaces are smooth, the angles sharp, as if the stones were not carved but molded. Their alignment is so perfect that it seems to suggest the hand of engineers who possessed a deep understanding of geometry, balance, and material strength. Yet these stones were set long before such sciences were formalized. For centuries, travelers, historians, and mystics have gazed upon Baalbek and seen more than just architecture. To some, it is the work of forgotten civilizations, the remnants of an age of giants or lost knowledge. To others, it stands as the ultimate expression of human will, proof that determination, coordination, and faith can achieve the impossible. Whatever the truth may be, Baalbek remains one of the most enigmatic testaments to what humans, or perhaps something beyond, once accomplished. Time has not been kind to the temples. Earthquakes, wars, and centuries of neglect have reduced much of Baalbek to ruins. But the foundations endure, unmoved and unbroken, as if defying time itself. They have become part of the landscape, ancient bones beneath the city, their origin lost in the depths of prehistory. When the sun sets over the Bika Valley, the stones glow with a warm golden light, and the shadows lengthen across their faces. The silence that follows feels ancient, the kind of silence that remembers. You can almost imagine the sound of chisels striking rock, the echo of distant voices shouting across the quarry, the vision of something greater being brought to life by hands guided by a purpose we no longer understand. Baalbek's mystery may never be solved. Perhaps that is its truest power. For in its immovable stones lies a reminder that human beings have always reached for the impossible. Not merely to build, but to leave a mark upon eternity itself. The Pyramids of Bosnia. In the quiet hills of central Bosnia, near the town of Visoko, a mystery has risen or perhaps re-emerged to challenge our understanding of human history. What began as an unassuming mountain covered in trees became, in the early 2000s, one of the most controversial archaeological discoveries of the modern era. Some call it the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, a set of massive geometric hills said to be the oldest and largest man-made pyramids in the world. Others dismiss it as a natural formation. Between these two worlds lies an enigma that continues to stir debate, fascination, and wonder. The story begins with Dr. Samir Osmanagic, a Bosnian-born researcher who, in 2005, noticed the unusual shape of a hill overlooking Visoko. Its sides were smooth, triangular, and oriented toward the cardinal directions, much like the Great Pyramid of Giza. Osmanagic claimed it was not a hill at all, but a pyramid, one buried beneath soil and vegetation over thousands of years. He named it the Pyramid of the Sun. Soon, other nearby hills were identified as possible structures: the Pyramid of the Moon, the Pyramid of the Dragon, and even a Temple of Mother Earth. Together, they formed what he called the Valley of the Pyramids. The claim was extraordinary, and so were the measurements. The Pyramid of the Sun stands at an estimated height of 220 meters, making it, if artificial, the tallest pyramid on Earth. Osmanagic and his team began excavations, uncovering layers of stone blocks arranged in regular patterns. Some appeared to form terraces or stair-like structures, while others were made of a concrete-like material that, according to certain analyses, was stronger than modern cement. Beneath the surface, a vast network of tunnels and chambers was discovered. The Ravn tunnels, stretching for kilometers under the valley, connecting the supposed pyramids. Inside these tunnels, explorers found megalithic stones inscribed with strange symbols, as well as air pockets with remarkably high oxygen levels and almost no traces of radiation. These unusual conditions led to claims that the site possessed healing or energetic properties. Visitors began to report feelings of calm, balance, and rejuvenation within the tunnels. Some even described it as a resonant chamber, designed to amplify the natural frequencies of the Earth itself. To supporters, this was evidence of a lost civilization, one that predated known history by tens of thousands of years. They suggested that the Bosnian pyramids could date back more than 30,000 years, making them older than any structure on Earth. The precision of their orientation toward true north, the alignment with astronomical events, and the discovery of tunnel systems all seemed to point toward deliberate human design. But to mainstream archaeology, the idea was met with skepticism. Many experts argue that the so-called pyramids are simply natural hills shaped by geological processes. Their block-like formations the result of sedimentary layering and fracturing. To them, the perfect geometric appearance is a coincidence, the product of erosion and human imagination rather than ancient engineering. The absence of definitive artifacts or inscriptions linking the site to a known civilization further deepened the divide. Still, the debate refuses to fade. Each year, thousands of visitors, volunteers, and researchers travel to Visoko to see the site for themselves. Excavations continue, often supported by independent researchers rather than institutional archaeologists. Some geophysical surveys have detected artificial-like anomalies beneath the surface, straight tunnels, right angles, and hollow chambers, but no consensus has been reached about their origin. What makes the Bosnian pyramids so captivating is not only the possibility that they might rewrite history, but also the deeper question they raise. How much of the ancient world remains hidden, disguised by nature and time? Across the planet, from the jungles of Central America to the deserts of Egypt, entire cities have been swallowed by the earth, waiting millennia to be rediscovered. Could Visoko be another such place? A memory of an advanced society erased by the passage of ages? Some researchers note that the pyramid's alignment mirrors that of other ancient monuments across the globe, forming what appear to be lines of energetic or geometric significance, a pattern some call the world grid. This idea suggests that ancient builders may have shared a common understanding of the planet's energy lines or magnetic fields, constructing their monuments to harmonize with them. While such ideas remain outside mainstream science, they evoke an ancient intuition that the Earth itself is alive, and that sacred structures were designed to resonate with its pulse. Standing at the base of the Pyramid of the Sun, the scale of the hill is overwhelming. Layers of stone peek through the soil, their edges sharp against the grass. The steps rise steeply toward the summit, where the view stretches across the valley, serene and timeless. Whether natural or man-made, the site emanates a quiet power, the kind that humbles you into silence. And perhaps that is the true mystery of the Bosnian pyramids. Even if one day science proves they are natural formations, their presence has already awakened something profoundly human. A longing to reconnect with the ancient world, to rediscover our forgotten roots, and to question what we think we know about our past. In that sense, the pyramids of Visoko are not merely a physical mystery but a psychological one. They represent the intersection between belief and evidence, between the rational and the mythical. They remind us that even in the age of technology and satellites, the Earth still holds secrets capable of stirring our imagination. As the sun sets over the hills of Bosnia, the Pyramid of the Sun glows in the fading light, its slopes turning gold against the deepening sky. Whether it is the creation of ancient hands or the artistry of nature herself, one cannot deny its beauty or its power to make us wonder. Perhaps that is what the ancients always intended, not to give us answers, but to awaken the eternal question within us. The Loretto Chapel Staircase. In the heart of Santa Fe, New Mexico, stands a small Gothic revival chapel whose beauty and mystery have captured imaginations for more than a century. The Loretto Chapel, elegant and quiet, could easily be mistaken for a fragment of an old European cathedral transplanted into the desert. Yet inside its modest walls lies one of architecture's most perplexing creations, a spiral staircase that seems to defy logic, gravity, and the limits of 19th-century craftsmanship. The story begins in the mid-19th century, when the Sisters of Loretto, a group of Catholic nuns, arrived in Santa Fe to establish a school for girls. They commissioned a chapel modeled after Sainte-Chapelle in Paris, a breathtaking vision of stained glass and soaring arches. Construction began in 1873 and was completed several years later. But when the builders finished, the sisters faced a serious problem. There was no way to reach the choir loft, which sat more than 6 meters above the floor. A conventional staircase would have taken up too much space in the small chapel. A simple ladder was deemed unsafe and impractical, especially for the long skirts the nuns wore. The builders, unsure how to solve the issue, suggested the use of a ladder or rebuilding part of the structure. The sisters, instead, turned to prayer. For 9 days they prayed to Saint Joseph, the patron saint of carpenters, asking for a solution. On the 10th day, according to legend, a mysterious man appeared at the chapel's door. He carried only a few simple tools: a saw, a hammer, and a square. The sisters welcomed him, and without saying much, he began working in solitude. For months, he labored quietly, using wood that no one recognized and no visible support beams. When the staircase was finally complete, the man disappeared without accepting payment or even leaving his name. What he left behind was something extraordinary. The staircase spirals upward in 2 perfect 360-degree turns, reaching the choir loft without the use of a central pole or any visible means of support. Each step rests on the one below it, creating a self-supporting structure that seems to hang in midair. The craftsmanship is flawless. The wood is shaped with mathematical precision, and the curvature of the spiral is both graceful and exact. For decades, engineers and architects have puzzled over how the staircase stands. Some describe it as an engineering impossibility. Others, more cautious, note that the builder must have understood advanced principles of load distribution, using the wood itself as a continuous helix that channels weight evenly along the spiral. Still, no nails were used, only wooden pegs, and the design remains unique in the history of architecture. The mystery deepened when samples of the wood were tested and found to come from a species not native to the American Southwest. No records exist of its origin, and the type of wood has never been conclusively identified. Some say it may have been brought from far away, possibly even from Europe. Others insist it was a material unknown to modern science. Over time, the story of the miraculous staircase spread far beyond Santa Fe. Visitors began to see it as more than a technical marvel. They saw it as a work of faith, perhaps even a miracle. The identity of the mysterious carpenter became the focus of endless speculation. Many believed he was Saint Joseph himself, answering the sisters' prayers in person. Others proposed that he was a wandering craftsman whose knowledge of geometry and balance bordered on genius. Despite all attempts to analyze or replicate it, the staircase remains singular. The wood gleams in the dim light of the chapel, curving upward like a ribbon frozen in motion. There are no railings in the original design, only the smooth spiral rising gracefully toward the choir. Later, for safety, a railing was added, but the original shape remains untouched. The staircase has endured for more than 140 years, without warping or collapsing. Modern studies suggest that hidden physics, not magic, explains its endurance. The double helix structure distributes weight evenly and flexibly, allowing it to support itself without central reinforcement. Yet even knowing this, the design feels almost supernatural. It's as if logic itself pauses when you look at it. The Loretto Chapel staircase is often described as an encounter between faith and science. It invites both reverence and curiosity, the sense that the divine and the rational can sometimes coexist in perfect harmony. The builder's anonymity, the untraceable wood, the flawless geometry. All of it forms a quiet reminder that human skill, when guided by devotion, can produce something timeless. Today, visitors from around the world come to Santa Fe to see the staircase for themselves. Many stand in silence before it, feeling the same mixture of awe and peace that must have filled the chapel the day it was completed. Some call it a miracle. Others call it an architectural masterpiece. Perhaps it is both. As sunlight filters through the stained glass, the spiral glows softly, like a pathway suspended between earth and heaven. In that moment, the question of how it was built seems almost irrelevant. What matters is what it represents, the mystery of creation, the beauty of craft, and the enduring belief that sometimes the simplest prayers can build the most extraordinary things. The Petra Treasury. In the silent canyons of southern Jordan lies one of the most breathtaking wonders of the ancient world. A city carved entirely from rose-red stone. Its most iconic feature stands at the end of a narrow, winding gorge called the Sick, where sunlight spills suddenly onto a monumental facade that seems to emerge from the cliff itself. This is Al-Khazna, the treasury of Petra, a masterpiece of architecture whose purpose has remained an enigma for over 2,000 years. Petra, once the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, flourished between the 4th century BCE and the 1st century CE. Hidden between towering sandstone cliffs, the city was both a fortress and a hub of trade. Caravans carrying incense, spices, silk, and gold passed through its gates, linking Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean world. The Nabateans were master builders and hydraulic engineers, channeling water through a complex system of canals and cisterns that made life possible in the harsh desert. Yet even amid their many achievements, the treasury stands apart. A creation so precise, so ornate, that it almost feels otherworldly. Standing 40 meters tall, its facade is cut directly into the rock face with impossible precision. The columns and sculptures appear as though built stone by stone, yet every detail was sculpted from a single continuous wall of sandstone. The Corinthian capitals, the figures of gods, the ornate friezes, all seem too refined to have been made by tools of the ancient world. Even the erosion of centuries has not erased its elegance. It glows with shifting shades of pink and gold as the day passes, as if alive. The name Treasury comes from local legend. Bedouins once believed that the urn carved high above the entrance contained gold left by ancient kings or perhaps by Pharaoh himself during the Exodus. Marks from bullets can still be seen on the urn, evidence of futile attempts to break it open. In reality, the urn is solid stone, a symbol, not a container. But the myth gave the monument its name, and the mystery has lingered ever since. Archaeologists have long debated the true purpose of the treasury. Early explorers imagined it as a royal tomb, a resting place for Nabatean kings. Others proposed it was a temple dedicated to the gods of wealth or the afterlife. Yet excavations have revealed no inscriptions or relics to confirm its function. The interior is surprisingly plain. A large central chamber and two side rooms, carved with the same care but devoid of decoration. If this was indeed a tomb, its occupant remains unknown. The design of Al-Khazna blends influences from Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia, suggesting that the Nabateans absorbed and reinterpreted the architectural languages of the ancient world. The columns echo Greek temples, the pediment resembles Roman triumphal facades, and the sculptures, including those of Isis, Tyche, and the twin eagles, reveal the Nabateans' syncretic spirituality. Yet beneath this fusion lies a distinctly local genius, the mastery of carving entire cities into living rock, creating not just monuments but entire landscapes of stone. What is most mysterious, however, is why the treasury was placed where it is. It sits alone at the entrance of Petra, almost as a guardian of the city, illuminated dramatically by the narrow slit of sky above the Sikh. Some researchers believe this placement was symbolic, a threshold between the world of the living and the sacred realm beyond. Others think it may have served as a ceremonial landmark, greeting visitors with a vision of divine grandeur. The lack of inscriptions, however, leaves the question unresolved. Modern studies have also revealed hidden features within the monument. Ground-penetrating radar and laser scans suggest that beneath the treasury lies a system of chambers or tunnels carved into the rock. Some archaeologists believe these could be unfinished tombs, hidden sanctuaries, or perhaps ancient water reservoirs. Excavations continue slowly, limited by the need to preserve the delicate stone. At night, when the tourists leave and silence returns to the canyon, the treasury takes on an almost spiritual stillness. Lit only by the moon, its details blur into shadow, and the facade becomes a ghostly presence, a reminder of a civilization both advanced and mysterious. The Nabateans disappeared centuries ago, absorbed by the Roman Empire and erased by time. Yet their city remains, whispering secrets from the sandstone walls. Petra itself was forgotten by the outside world for nearly 1,000 years. Desert winds and shifting sands hid its location until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, disguised as an Arab pilgrim, rediscovered it. Since then, the treasury has become a symbol of lost civilizations, a portal into humanity's forgotten ingenuity. Some believe that the proportions of the treasury were not merely aesthetic but astronomical. Its alignment with the canyon's light may have been deliberate, a way to capture the sun's rays at specific times of year, marking solstices or religious events. The Nabateans, skilled in both architecture and astronomy, may have embedded cosmic symbolism within the stone itself, turning the monument into a silent calendar of the heavens. And yet, after centuries of study, one truth remains. No one knows for certain what the treasury was meant to be. It stands as a riddle carved in stone, majestic, precise, and silent. Every line, every shadow, every curve speaks of intention, and yet the meaning is lost, swallowed by time. Perhaps that is what makes it so haunting. The treasury of Petra reminds us that even the most durable monuments eventually outlive their purpose. The builders' names, their rituals, their beliefs, all have faded, but their creation endures, untouched by meaning, yet full of mystery. As dawn breaks over the desert, The first light spills into the sick, striking the facade and setting it ablaze with color. The treasury glows once more, alive for a brief moment in the sun's embrace. Then the light moves on, and it returns to shadow, timeless, patient, and unknowable. It is a message from the past carved not in words, but in stone, that even when meaning is lost, beauty remains, and mystery endures. The Yonaguni Monument. Off the southern coast of Japan, beneath the restless waves of the East China Sea, lies a colossal structure that has stirred debate among archaeologists, geologists, and dreamers alike. Known as the Yonaguni Monument, this submerged formation rests near the island of Yonaguni, the westernmost tip of the Japanese archipelago. It is a place where the past feels close, yet unreachable, buried not under soil, but under the deep blue silence of the ocean. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver named Kihachiro Aratake, the monument immediately defied explanation. While searching for hammerhead sharks in the clear coastal waters, Aratake came across what seemed to be an enormous staircase rising from the seabed, terraces, sharp corners, and perfectly flat surfaces carved from solid rock. It looked less like a natural formation and more like a sunken city, the ruins of an ancient civilization swallowed by the sea. The site, which lies roughly 25 meters below the surface, is massive. The main structure stretches over 150 meters in length, 40 meters wide, and about 25 meters tall. Its features appear unmistakably geometric. Straight lines, 90-degree angles, and layered platforms stacked like steps of a giant ziggurat. There are even what appear to be roads, courtyards, and staircases leading up to flat terraces. Some divers claim to have seen carvings resembling animals, faces, and mysterious symbols etched into the stone. At first glance, it is difficult to believe such symmetry could be natural. The formation bears resemblance to the stepped pyramids of Mesoamerica or the megalithic terraces of Peru. Some researchers argue that the monument could be as old as 10,000 years, dating back to a time when sea levels were lower and parts of the current seabed were still dry land. If true, it would make the Yonaguni Monument one of the oldest known architectural sites on Earth, predating even the Egyptian pyramids. The most famous advocate of this theory is marine geologist Masaaki Kimura from the University of the Ryukyus. After years of studying the site, Kimura concluded that the structure shows clear signs of human modification, carved stairways, pathways, and even possible temples. He suggested that Yonaguni might be the remains of an ancient civilization lost to rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 BCE. To him, it was Japan's own version of Atlantis, a drowned city that once thrived on land now claimed by the ocean. But not everyone agrees. Many geologists maintain that the monument is entirely natural, formed by tectonic activity and erosion. The region's sandstone and mudstone layers tend to break in rectangular patterns, creating flat surfaces and sharp angles that can mimic artificial shapes. According to this view, nature herself, through time and pressure, sculpted the illusion of architecture. The human mind, always eager to find patterns and meaning, simply filled in the rest. Still, there are features that continue to fuel the mystery. The terraces of the Yonaguni Monument rise in precise intervals, each about a meter high, too regular, some argue, to be random. Certain sections appear to align with cardinal directions, while others mirror known megalithic layouts from ancient Japan. Divers have even identified what seems to be a massive stone face, and a rectangular stone that some call the stage, as if the structure once hosted rituals or gatherings. Around the monument, scattered rock formations appear to form roads or walls, suggesting a larger complex. Could it have been part of an entire city? If so, where did its inhabitants go, and what caused its destruction? Rising seas at the end of the Ice Age could have submerged low-lying coastal regions around the world, erasing entire cultures from history. If Yonaguni truly is a remnant of one of these forgotten civilizations, it would reshape our understanding of human antiquity. And yet, the sea keeps her secrets well. Visibility beneath the waves shifts with the currents. Some days, the monument looks like a perfect staircase leading into the unknown. On others, it dissolves into shadow, its lines softened by coral and silt. For those who have dived there, the experience is haunting, a sensation of entering a space that feels ancient, deliberate, and impossibly silent. Perhaps what makes the Yonaguni Monument so compelling is the tension between nature and human imagination. The structure seems to exist in both realms at once, a geological wonder that could also be an artifact of forgotten intelligence. It reminds us that the boundary between what is natural and what is made by human hands is sometimes thinner than we think, especially when viewed through the lens of deep time. For now, the mystery remains unresolved. No definitive tools, inscriptions, or artifacts have been found to confirm human involvement. And yet, the sense of design lingers, in the symmetry of the steps, in the sharp corners that catch the light, and in the way the monument rises from the ocean floor like a memory struggling to resurface. When the sun filters through the turquoise water, beams of light dance across the stone terraces, illuminating the structure as if it were alive again. Fish drift through the corridors where perhaps people once walked, or where only waves ever shaped the stone. The Yonaguni Monument stands as a reminder that the earth is full of forgotten landscapes. Some are buried in deserts, others lie beneath jungles or glaciers, and some, like Yonaguni, sleep beneath the sea, waiting for us to notice them again. Whether natural or man-made, it holds the same quiet truth, that time is the greatest architect of all. Beneath the waves, the monument endures, patient and eternal, whispering in the language of the ocean. It asks no questions, gives no answers. It simply exists, mysterious, beautiful, and silent, like the deep itself. Ending. The ancient world still whispers through stone. Each monument we've explored tonight reminds us how little we truly know, and how endlessly fascinating our past remains. If you enjoyed this calm journey, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think hides behind these ancient mysteries? Share this video with someone who loves to dream about the unknown. And as always, sleep well, dream deeply, and may your night be filled with quiet wonder.